Hello, everyone. I am Catherine Mahoney. I'm hosting the session for the presenters, so I'll be introducing you all. I just want to check. I got the list of presenters kind of last minute. So I see John, Emily, Beth, Lisa, Deborah, Zoe, and Daisy. Is that right?
Hi, Catherine. Actually, Beth and Zoe will not be joining us today. So,
Okay. Good to know.
Beth, Lisa, Daisy, Emily, and John. We should be John.
Okay.
On in a moment here.
So you said, so you, Daisy, Emily, and John, right?
And Deborah.
And Deborah. Okay.
It's a lot of folks.
Right.
We've tried to bring the whole department. So,
hey, it's the more knowledge, it'll be even better. So I'll help you all manage the time. And do you need me to help keep an eye on the chat for you all and let you know if some questions pop up in case you missed them?
Sure. We've got someone doing that, but if you could do it as well, that would be great.
Perfect. Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. So we've got a couple of minutes and then I will introduce you all. So, and for those of you who are not presenters, we'll be getting started in just a couple of minutes.
Thank you.
All right, so I think we are at time to start the session. Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Mahoney. I'm the Director of Student Life at Community College of Denver. I am just here to host the session and help with technology. And I am going to introduce our folks who will be doing a great Q&A session for everyone on CCCOnline. And so with us today, we have John Schmall, Emily Perry, Lisa Brown-Roberts, Deborah Miller, and Daisy Rosales. So I'll let you all introduce yourselves and take it away.
Great, thank you, Catherine. Yes, as you said, I'm John Schmall. I'm Dean of Student Affairs with CCCOnline. And we just wanted to take some time this morning and go over a little bit about what we do at CCCOnline. In the past, we have been able to go out and visit the colleges. Obviously, this past year, we haven't had that opportunity. So we wanted to at least take some time through this conference to give a chance to have our wonderful staff meet all of you and have you meet our staff and go through just a little bit about what they do, how they help support your students, and give you an opportunity to ask any questions. So if you do have questions, please feel free to enter them in the chat, and we'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the session. With that, you can see the agenda, and we'll just go on through. And if my folks go ahead and take it away and introduce yourselves.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lisa Brown Roberts. I'm the manager of enrollment services and student success. Um, I'm sure I've worked with many of you. I've been with CCC Online for 14 years and really enjoy what I do, working with all of you at the colleges, supporting your students. And I'm just really glad we have a chance to at least virtually connect this year. So I'll turn it over to Emily.
Hi, everyone. I am Emily Perry. Nice to see you all here. Thanks for joining us. I am the Access and Equity Services professional. This is a new position here at CCC Online, but I have been with the system since 2018, formerly worked in disability services at Front Range Community College. And Deb.
Good morning. I hope you can hear me. Hi, I'm Deborah Miller, and can you see me?
Yes.
I'm Deborah. Okay, I'm Deborah Miller, and I've been with CCC Online now for about a little over 8 years. Prior to that, I was at Red Rocks Community College, and I am the enrollment specialist. And you will hear later in the presentation some of the things that that I do to help you, your students, be successful. All right. It's nice to have all of you here today. And now it looks like, actually, it looks like Zoe unfortunately couldn't be with us. I'm going to turn it over to Daisy now.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Daisy Rosales. I am the Student Success Specialist for CCC Online. A little background about me. I'm actually a CCA alumni. I graduated in 2018, then went into MSU Denver, and actually graduated last spring in 2020. I've been working for CCC Online since November of last year. My passion is to support students and provide them with the best resources to help them be successful. Thanks for everyone for being here.
All right,
Okay.
and just so you know, we do have another member who's not with us today, Beth Kitts. She's our digital media coordinator, and she essentially runs our website. So, and with that, next slide. There we go.
Okay, so if everyone could share your name and title and college in the chat, that would be great so we can get an idea of who's here. And as we mentioned earlier, feel free to post questions anytime in the chat window. This is an overview slide of the services that you all provide and what we provide. And I'm sure everyone is familiar with those tasks, but we just wanted to try and capture it. As you know, we work very much as liaisons with your staff and with students, referring students back to registrars, advisors, financial aid, all those services that they might need at your colleges. We help to get them to the right folks. We also provide a lot of student support on our own with Zoe as our student retention person and Emily as student success. I'll talk more about what they do. Well, actually, I'm going to cover Zoe's slides today since she is ill, unfortunately, but they do a lot for students. We are constantly trying to improve their success rates and retention and to be available as resources for them. We have an online librarian, Brittany Dudek, who's fantastic. And we also have lots of online library services available to students taking CCC online courses. We've also got 24/7 tutoring by a service called Tutor Me that students can access anytime via their online course. And we also, our organization oversees the 24/7 tech support for all of CCS. So that 188 number that we give to students is overseen by our internal staff. And that is also a great resource for students, especially when they're stuck at 1 in the morning trying to access D2L. Okay, and I'll cover this for Zoe. She's fantastic. She's been with us coming up on a year now. She has a great background from working at CCD and CU Boulder and also at Front Range. So she brings years of advising and student success and academic coaching, which is fantastic. She's come up with lots of new initiatives for students. She's improving our orientation course. She does a lot of outreach to students who are inactive in their courses. We try and touch base with them and see what we can do to help encourage them to re-engage in their courses. And she works directly with advisors at the colleges and also with concurrent enrollment staff. As I'm sure you all know, those concurrent enrollment populations have been increasing dramatically, and we're seeing an increase as well. And Zoe works as a liaison with the high school staff and with your college concurrent staff and also with the students, helping them to get going and letting them know how our online courses work. She also, as I mentioned, she's overseeing the orientation and is very engaged in that and is really providing a lot of great guidance to students there along with Daisy. And Zoe's also working on some special projects and coming up with some great new ideas of how to just increase our students' success. And now it's time for Daisy.
Yes, thank you, Lisa. So yes, my role, I am the first point of contact for students. When it's questions or concerns, they all come to me, whether it's a phone call or an email. I provide information on how to access their course materials, help them navigate D2L, and also go over other course availabilities. I am also bilingual and specific in Spanish. So if students would like their support available in Spanish, I'm able to support them in that every semester for each session. And what these emails encompass is information on how to access their course, the resources that they would need before their courses start, and important semester dates. And I also support Zoe in student retention with the orientation course and other special projects. And next, okay. Alrighty, so we'll cover some common student support questions. One of the most common question that we get is, how do students access their course? And our courses are actually accessed through a separate link than their home college courses. This information is included in the welcome emails. So when they go into their student dashboard and go to the course icon, they will come up with this screen here that's included on this page, and it's a separate link where students can access their CCC online courses. And when can students access their course? Students are able to access their courses on the first day of class, and that would vary depending on the session that they are enrolled in. And who is their instructor and why can't they see their instructor yet? Since we aggregate students from our 13 partnered community colleges, and we assign students to the course sections a week before classes begin, students will be able to see their instructors' names on their schedule or their portal a few days before their course begins, usually on a Friday or the weekend before. And how do lab kits work? A few of our science courses do require a lab kit to be completed at home. And students will be able to fill out a order form for these lab kits when they first access their course. And the lab kit will be shipped and delivered to their student's address. And usually it's delivered after the census date, which is the drop date.
Okay, I'll go ahead and cover this since Zoe is out and she was going to share this. We don't require students to be online at specific times. These are some of the common questions we get. A lot of students think courses are self-paced. I'm sure you probably encounter that as well with students. And that's something we try to stress in the welcome email and also in the student orientation. And work on getting them engaged at the beginning and checking their syllabus for deadlines and the drop date and all that important information. We encourage students to contact their instructors directly with any questions through the D2L messaging. And we do have a lot of digital content embedded in our courses and a lot of online educational OER resources that are a low or free cost to students as well. And all of that is provided in the syllabus. And something to mention is also on our website, we do have a course page for each course that has that information in the sort of a general syllabus.
Hey, Lisa, we have a question that I think is great and you would like to answer. So it says, why can't you give them access to D2L earlier and list some of this information for them? It would cut back on so many phone calls.
Yes, that's very true. And it's something we hear from students all the time. The main reason is we are aggregating students from all of the colleges. And so we are doing that, you know, for instance, for English 121, we might run 20, 30 sections of that course. And we are up until the week before class, we meet on the Wednesday before classes start, and we confirm how many sections we'll need to set up for the courses, all the instructors, and then we have a software that kind of connects with Banner called our middleware, and that distributes all those students into say 20, 30, or 40 sections of English 121 and with those instructors. And so we don't know until that Wednesday, Thursday before classes start exactly which section the student will be in. They should be able to see it usually on the Friday before classes start. They'll probably see it on the link. But I think that we've surveyed some of the other colleges, and I've found that's fairly common. A lot of the classes don't offer access until the first day. Some of our instructors send out an email that weekend before, a welcome email. And I know it can be frustrating for students, and I wish I had a better solution or answer for you. I don't know, John, if you want to jump in and address any of some future possibilities for that.
Yes, yeah, no, that's an excellent question. And a lot of it does, as Lisa said, it's a result of the way we currently split students up into different sections. And the process historically has been very manual. So it used to be a system where we had to go in and actually select each student and choose the section they were going to be in and move them in. And it was a very long time consuming process. And once they're moved, it's very difficult to move them back out. We're in the process. We actually just started this summer. Our academic technology team has been able to automate more of this process. They actually have automated a big portion of it, which will help us substantially. And we are looking at backing out the time when we do split those courses out. We do run into some issues with instructor assignment. So we do have to work very carefully and closely with our department chairs to make sure that they do have enough instructors, because we do see in that last week before classes start, we usually see a substantial growth in enrollments. As the college courses are closing, we get kind of an overflow or the overflow from that. And that causes our enrollments to have a last minute jump, which causes some complications in terms of being able to get students moved around and assigned and knowing how many instructors and sections we'll need. So it's kind of a long-winded explanation, but it is a really good question. It does cause issues for us. We do definitely recognize that. I do want to emphasize what Lisa had mentioned earlier. We do have the syllabi for all the courses on our website. So they don't cover specifics in terms of like course schedule when assignments are due and stuff. So they're a little more generalized for the syllabus, but it should give a student a good idea of the type of coursework required and the amount of coursework. And we are also actually working on a project to try and get the actual course syllabi, which would include the schedule, available to students before the classes open up. So hopefully that helps answer.
Thanks, John. I hope that, yes, I hope that answered the question. I'm turning it over to Emily now, who will talk about access and equity.
All right. My position again is the Access and Equity Services professional. So I have kind of two parts to my position. The first part being accessibility. And underneath this portion of my job, I support students with disabilities. So kind of similar to how a coordinator, specialist, or director would in one of the disability support services at the home colleges. I negotiate accommodations and flexibility with instructors. So I try to take some of that pressure off from the home college disability departments and run interference if per se to help with that. I provide guidance on student complaints regarding accommodations and or any like disability related things that might have occurred during the semester. And I also collaborate with the department chairs and instructional design team to identify barriers that may be present in course shells and on third-party vendor platforms like Wiley Plus, Pearson, stuff like that. So to kind of lay out the difference of what the home college does versus what I do, the home college is the ones that set up the initial intake with students where they kind of go over the access barriers that students have, obtain and analyze the documentation, approve and deny the accommodations, inform students of how those accommodations work and kind of their rights under the ADA in Section 504. And then the home college also oversees the accommodation implementation for all of the home college courses. So if we were at a Front Range, they would oversee the Front Range in-person and online classes. And then if one of the Front Range students takes a CCCOnline class, that's where I come in. So the home college sends me the approved letter of accommodation from their college, and I send it forward to the instructors. At this time, we don't have a way for staff at the home colleges to see who our instructors are. So that's kind of why it goes through me. Like I said, negotiate flexibility with instructors. I refer students needing accommodations to the home colleges and let them know what that process will look like and ensure that they're getting to the right resources. And I also oversee the accommodation implementation for CCCOnline courses. So whether that be working with the instructors, the academic technology team, I also will sometimes set up weekly success meetings with students and do check-ins with them to see how their accommodations are going. And if they're needing any additional supports, how can I help them or get them to the right resources that can support them? The second part of my position is equity. So with this role, I am leading the effort to reduce the achievement gaps found in CCCOnline courses. And this is for a multitude of different student identities and marginalized groups. I provide diversity, equity, and inclusion education for faculty and staff. So something that I recently started in the spring semester was anti-racism discussions that I hold monthly that have been very fruitful and I feel lucky to be a part of. I also provide guidance on flexibility and leniency for students that are struggling with COVID-related factors and other extenuating circumstances, homelessness, any type of death in the family. If they get put on military duty, things like that, I will step in. And then I also provide guidance for instructors working with English as a second language or English language learner students. Since those students do not fall under the ADA, it's kind of a different amount of different kind of support that we need to give those students. With that. So some common accommodation questions. The first biggest one is, does CCC Online do intakes or approve accommodations for students? And the answer to that is no, that's the home college's role. So our instructors will provide the accommodations approved by the home college. So that's kind of our role. If there is an issue with an accommodation or accessibility, should a home college staff member reach out directly to the instructors? So absolutely, you can reach out to the instructor. The student would have to tell you who the instructor is. I just ask that you CC me on the communication so that I'm aware of the situation and can intervene if necessary. I also noticed that usually when I'm attached to the email, it provides a little credibility, and in case someone doesn't know, the instructor doesn't know you from your home college role, if they see that I'm attached on it, they're gonna do it. So that's a good thing. And then if a student has a complaint about an instructor or feels they have been treated or graded unfairly due to their accommodations, what should they do? So we actually have a specific student complaint form for CCC Online students. This is different than like the Maxient form that the home college has. And so this information goes straight to the instructor's chair and me so that we can thoroughly look into the situation. And then it also documents the incident on our end if the student ends up wanting to appeal their grade. This isn't to say that a student would be doing the wrong thing if they filled out like the Maxient report on your site. Your HR department would just reach out to me, and then we would turn it into a student complaint form on our end. So yeah, and that's linked in there. It's linked in the presentation a few places. So if you ever need that, you can also feel free to reach out to myself or Julianne, who will go over a little bit later.
Okay, I'll do a brief overview of the work that Deb Miller does, and I do some of working with your registrar's office and schedulers for course scheduling and enrollment. This mostly covers the areas where we get involved. Deb manages the CCC Online courses in all banner systems. She'll talk a little bit more about that, but she is the miracle worker who is building all the courses in all of your banner systems, and working directly with your folks at the colleges there. We often get some questions from college staff or students about prerequisites. There's sometimes some confusion there, so I wanted to just point out that CCC Online does not authorize prerequisites. That's completely up to the colleges. And so we always refer students back to the college for those overrides. Just something to keep in mind if you've got a student who's looking to get one of those overrides. Re-enrollment, when students are dropped for no-show or for other reasons, we do have an online re-enrollment form that students are directed to, and Deb and I review all of those and handle those. Before census, we put the students back in if they qualify, which means being active in the course and participating. After census, we work with the registrars for approval for those and have you all put those students back in. We post the final grades at all of the colleges, and we do a lot of verification of course activity for financial aid inquiries and appeals from students. So we do a lot of that as well. Clicker is slow. I guess I'm repeating myself. So yes, prerequisites. We do, as I said, we get some of those. I feel bad for students because sometimes there's a bit of confusion where they get bounced back and forth between us. So if you could just share with all of your team members that that's something that we don't do, and that needs to be handled by the registrar or advisors on your staff. And I'll turn it over to Deb.
Good morning again. So another common question that we get asked by colleges and or students is the student only sees 4 students enrolled in a course, so therefore is it going to be canceled? As it's been explained earlier in this presentation, we do matriculate students from all 13 Colorado community colleges and Dawson Community College in Glendive, Montana. Because of that reason, the likelihood is the class won't get canceled. However, we do on occasion have to cancel a class due to low enrollment. When that occurs, it happens, or we make that decision the Wednesday before the semester or the term, the class begins. And at that point, then what I will do is go in, drop the student's registration, notify the students by email, copy the registrar at the college, and let them know that we've had to cancel that course due to low enrollment. But the other thing about they're only seeing four students, those are just the students that are registered at that college. So there could be 4 students at Arapahoe, there could be 10 students at Front Range, there could be 20 students at Red Rocks, and they don't see all of that information. And that's why, like I said, we don't typically cancel courses that have low enrollments at the college, but we do on occasion have to do that. Now I think I'm turning this back over to Lisa.
As I mentioned a little earlier, how do students request re-enrollment? They need to complete our online form. This slide has the link to the form, and I believe we have it listed elsewhere as well. It's on our website. Students can just put in forms on the website or re-enrollment, and it'll take them to the page with the link. Sometimes we have a little confusion with instructors trying to approve re-enrollments. It's something that we're always reminding our instructors of, especially new instructors. But that does need to go through our student affairs department for approval. So if you ever have questions, just go ahead and check with us and we can get students to the right place to fill out that form. Okay, Deb.
Sorry, I keep putting my mute button on and then I have to remember to take it off. Okay, so as I think it was also referred to earlier in the presentation, the multiple sections that we have, and that being the reason that we can't necessarily provide students with their instructor and which section they're assigned to and so on and so forth early in the process. The students and or you at the college through the schedule will see a reference to a CCC online course such as C11, 21, 41, or 51. Those section references are different in our D2L platform. So for example, if an English 121 C11 is reflected on the student's schedule at the college, they may be assigned to section English 121, section C02. And so in there lies the difference and how we identify where students, which section a student has been assigned to. So first of all, the best way to identify, because we do get this question a lot from students, because they don't necessarily know that they're in a CCC online course. They may be in a Red Rocks online course, but think they're in a CCC online course. And the best way that they can identify if it's a CCC online course is by the section number. The section numbers are basically outlined or detailed by the first letter being C, which indicates it's a CCC online course. The second character being 1, 2, 4, or 5, that indicates the session. So in other words, 1 is a full term session, 2 is the late start session, 4 and 5 is the fast track session. And then the 1 typically means that it's in that session, in that 15, 10, or 6-week session. However, we recently, since we started having to link some classes together, such as Math 025 with Math 055 or 093 with Math 093 with Math 121, we started using those references as C12. And so whenever there is a 2 or a 3 in that third character position, it means that that class is linked or cross-listed with another class that is a co-requisite and it has to be taken at the same time. And then related to the multiple sections in D2L, I apologize, my house phone is ringing, so if you can hear it, I do apologize for that. The multiple sections in D2L then are referenced a little different, and I used to have a pictorial image that kind of showed it, and in an attempt to be accessible in this presentation, I tried to outline it in a more text-related detail, such as a COO or a COF or even a C10 means that that registration is in the C11 section that's reflected in Banner. And as you can see, I'm not going to go through all of these, but as you can see, there's a reason to the madness, so to speak. And the document that we have that we work from is a huge Excel spreadsheet that like has massive numbers all over it. But that is at least a way to help the student understand that there is a difference between their D2L section reference and what is reflected on their course schedule through Banner or through the student portal. And I think this one's mine too, sorry. When will I see my CCCOnline grade on my transcript, and why is it different from what I see in D2L? I deal with this a lot. Excuse me. First of all, we request that our instructors post their final grades by the Wednesday following the term. And through that process, we have to download the grades, then upload them to Banner, and it takes basically an overnight process in order to get the grades put into Banner. A student, on the other hand, has access into their D2L course, their CCCOnline course in D2L. They have access to that course for 2 weeks after the course has ended. And so oftentimes they will go in and they will see their grade reflected in the course as one thing, but yet on their transcripts at Banner or through Banner, it's reflected as something else. And that's oftentimes because the instructor has, along the way, first of all, submitted their grade, then changed it after it was submitted, and that change never gets carried through to the student, to their official transcript, and to the Banner system for their home college without them submitting a grade change form. When we discover this has happened, then we usually reach out to the instructor, ask them to submit a grade change form, and then we forward that on to you once they submit it to us. But that oftentimes happens, and a student gets confused because they know they earned one grade, but it's being reflected as something different.
Okay.
And
I just wanted to go over surveys briefly. We've been doing course evaluation surveys for, I think, as long as I've been with CCCOnline. We do run midterm evaluations for our 15 and 10-week sessions, and end of term student surveys for all of the courses. It's anonymous, and we use those results to improve our instruction and our course design and our student support. And the surveys are also used as part of our instructor evaluations. We have a great response rate of usually around 50%, which is terrific. We use a tool called Evaluation Kit, which I think some of you all might use on your campuses as well. Our midterm survey uses the Community of Inquiry framework, which some of you may be familiar with. It's pretty well known, and it assesses teaching presence, cognitive presence, and social presence. And our course is consistently on a Likert scale average 4 or above, and have for many years. So that's something that we think really reflects how well our courses are doing, and instructors, of course.
Lisa, we have a question in the chat
Sure.
about those.
Sure.
So what kind of feedback can you share with us about what students like or dislike about CCC online classes? And if this feedback is being collected, how does CCC online respond to that feedback?
Yes, we absolutely look at all of that data. We in Student Affairs look at it, and so do all of the department chairs and the associate deans. They're regularly reviewing that data, as well as our course design team. They also look at the data. Almost everyone really in our organization reviews that to look at feedback on instructor performance and instructional design, and student support. As far as I think the question was some common things we see. Students overall, they love the flexibility of online. Most of our students work. Many of them have families, and this is a great option for them when they can't get to campus, whether they're doing all their courses online or maybe just one to supplement other things. I think, obviously online is different than in person, and some students maybe do prefer being on campus, but they hopefully are able to form community in their classes with discussions. Discussions are a big part of our courses, and students do a lot of connecting that way, working on group projects, that type of thing. They often really rave about their instructors, and our instructors, I think, do a wonderful job of really trying to engage those students, reaching out to them individually within the course, posting videos, just constantly trying to improve how they interact with online students. I hope that answers. If anybody else wants to jump in, they
Yeah, I
can.
can. Yeah, I'll jump in also real quick. I think we, excuse me, we do see as a common complaint that we get regularly is a lack of communication. And I think this stems from a couple of areas. One is the complexity of the tools within D2L, the difference between messaging within D2L and emailing to their student email account. The way the CCC online courses are set up right now, you can't easily email outside the course, and it will often error if you try, and vice versa. You can't email to within a D2L email address. So they're working. So we're working on a couple of options to try and fix that. But the biggest thing we're trying to do is just help our instructors understand and to help them figure out better ways to communicate with the students through, as Lisa said, using more video when we can. And we're also working and testing right now, texting for students, something that Zoe is working on, is doing some texting through Signalvine to help improve communication. So yes, I think we do try and take a look at those problems. We also do have a meeting every couple of weeks with the academic team to look at ongoing, and if there are any ongoing student issues or complaints or concerns and stuff, just to get together with our academic dean and her staff to kind of work through any of those problems to see what can be done to help out. So I hope that helps. And it looks like we just have a couple of minutes left.
Take it away. This is your slide, John.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well then, just related to that, as we mentioned before, we do have the student complaint form on our website and also our grade appeal process. Those go through our academic team. Julianne Villalpando is our academic operations manager. She works with our academic dean. And as I just said, that's one of the people we work with regularly for student issues, student complaints. We routinely connect her to any students who are having issues or concerns, especially if it's instructional related. And she'll work very closely with the department chairs and the associate deans to help out. Next slide. And then just a general overview, you can scroll through all these real quick. There's a bunch in here. So just for the general student conduct issues, if there is a student who's having an issue, again, just pretty much a standard process. We do try and resolve that issue between the student and the instructor. They can be appealed. So if the student disagrees with the finding of the instructor, and this often happens with issues around plagiarism, they can certainly appeal that decision to the department chair. And then that would just go up through to our associate dean, and then finally either myself or our academic dean, depending on the issue that's going on. So kind of a fairly standardized process for appeals. We are working on a final update to make sure that the system is changing the appeal process overall through the system, and we'll be updating our process with that. Basically, it adds a final appeal committee process that students can go to, which I really love. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And then just in general, just so you guys have our contact information, our general email address, studentsuccess@cccs.edu, and our toll-free number. Feel free to pass those out to anyone at any time for anything. So we want people to contact us and ask questions. Our accommodations email that goes to Emily. So if students have any concerns or need to talk for any issues related to accommodations. And as Lisa said, we do at CCC Online support the 24/7 tech support line for students. And this is not just CCC Online, this can be for any technical issue that students are having. Oh, and I see a quick question. Can students locate the student complaint form easily? Yes, if they go to our website, they can just actually put in either student complaint or form, anything like that. It's also under our current student tab on our website. There's a link there for forms, and it will take them to the student complaint form, and also the re-enrollment form is there. And I think that's all that I think we have. Does anyone else on my amazing team have anything to add? Or if not, I just want to do one final shout out to my team. If you didn't notice, 3 of our team members here have been with us for less than a year. They've made an amazing contribution. I can't be more happy, more impressed, and more proud of this team. So they do a fantastic job, and I hope you all get a chance to work with them in the future. Please reach out to them. I know they would love to talk with you. They're a very, very social group. They want to talk to you. So please reach out.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Yes, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yes, we can provide.
You.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Catherine.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just saw a note about access to the slideshow. And yes, we can provide that. Catherine, do you know if everyone will be sent?
I will follow that question. Actually, I saw it come through my email and just got sent to Mandy. I know the recordings are going to be available, and she'll send out instructions on how folks can access those.
Yeah, and if anybody wants the slideshow, just email us individually or at Student Success, and we can shoot you a copy of that.
Well, that's all of our time for this morning, or now this afternoon. We really appreciate all this great information that you all gave us, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the conference. Thank you.